My name is Alina Ainsworth, and for 24 years I've called Crestwood, Ohio, home. Life was simple, predictable even, until the fat bastard moved in across the street. Act 1. A neighborhood disturbed growing up, Crestwood was the kind of place where everyone knew everyone, and front doors were rarely locked. After my dad passed away, my mom and I moved to a cookie-cutter house that felt like a fresh start. We brought our 2 cats, Patches and Whiskers, with us, not realizing that this new zone had a law requiring cats to be kept indoors. In our old neighborhood, cats roamed free, a tradition we hadn't thought twice about. The tranquility shattered one afternoon when a man, a rather large and unpleasant man, stormed over and began pounding on our door. He was red-faced and furious, claiming he'd seen Patches relieving herself in his precious garden. He'd followed her home, and now he was at our doorstep, spewing insults and demands. My mother, usually so calm and collected, was taken aback by his aggressive behavior. From that moment on, he was known in our household as the fat bastard. Our cats were miserable indoors. They were used to the freedom of the outdoors, and confinement didn't suit them. A few times, while leashed in the backyard, they managed to wriggle free. Each escape brought the fat bastard back to our door, angrier than before. He threatened to call animal control and have our cats taken to the pound, where we'd have to pay to get them back. He even threatened to deal with them himself if they set foot on his lawn again. We tried everything to keep them contained. We reinforced the fences, kept a closer watch, and even tried those ridiculous cat harnesses. But Patches and Whiskers were determined, and the fat bastard was always watching. Act 2, a tragedy and an ultimatum. Months of tiptoeing around the fat bastard followed. We lived in constant fear of another confrontation, another threat. Then, tragedy struck. Patches suddenly fell ill and died of kidney failure. The vet couldn't pinpoint the cause, but we suspected the worst: antifreeze poisoning. The thought of that horrible man deliberately harming our cat filled me with rage and grief. After Patches died, we doubled our efforts to keep Whiskers safe. We built higher fences and were more vigilant. The escapes became less frequent, but the tension remained. Just when we thought things couldn't get worse, the fat bastard had the audacity to knock on our door again. This time, he demanded that my mother paint our fence because it didn't match our other neighbor's fence. Not even his own fence, but the one next door. My mother was at her breaking point. I was away at school, but when I came home to visit, I heard all about the fat bastard and his endless demands. My mother would vent to me about how she wished she could get back at him for being such a horrible neighbor. The man loved his lawn more than life itself. Every single day, he would mow it, meticulously manicuring every blade of grass. He was obsessed with the perfect lawn, and he took great pride in it. That's when I decided on my plan. I would park my car in front of his precious lawn every chance I got. Act 3. Petty revenge and a satisfying. And whenever I came home from school, I made a point of parking my car directly in front of the fat bastard's house. I knew it would infuriate him, and that's exactly what I wanted. It wasn't illegal. I wasn't blocking his driveway, but it was enough to obstruct his perfect view. It only took a few days for him to come storming over to my mother's door, demanding she make me move my car. My mother, relishing the moment, simply slammed the door in his face. The look on her face was priceless. I continued parking there for weeks, enjoying the small victory of knowing I was getting under his skin. One day, I found a nasty, passive-aggressive note on my windshield. Without a second thought, I ripped it into shreds and scattered the pieces on the side of the road. Oops, the wind must have blown some onto his precious lawn. Eventually, the fat bastard confronted me directly. He asked, in the rudest way possible, why I was parking there and insisted I park elsewhere. I told him I didn't like parking under the tree on our side of the street because of the spiders, and that coming from the direction I did, it was simply easier to park on his side. Perfectly reasonable excuses, but clearly designed to annoy him even further. He threatened to call the cops and have my car towed, but he knew he couldn't do that until winter, when the roads needed to be clear for snowplows. I knew he was bluffing, but I enjoyed watching him seethe with frustration. That winter, I stopped parking in front of his lawn. I felt satisfied that I had gotten my revenge, avenging my mother and, in a small way, Patches. About a year later, I heard from my mother that the fat bastard had suffered a stroke. He couldn't cut his lawn anymore. My mother was smug and happy as she watched his son mow the lawn in a normal way, not with the same obsessive precision as his father. She imagined the anguish the fat bastard must have been in, watching someone else ruin his perfect lawn. These days, we have a Casio, and we wouldn't let our cats roam freely outside. We now believe cats are safer indoors. But back then, we didn't know better. The Casio was built much later, after we realized the importance of keeping our cats safe. We even turned the whole backyard into an inescapable cage, a far cry from the freedom Patches and Whiskers once enjoyed, but a necessary step to protect them.